Dear learners, welcome back to NPTEL online certification course on novel drug delivery system. I am Dr. Satish Devanapelli, Assistant Professor at Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Technology, Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. So, in our novel drug delivery systems, so far we have discussed on the various platforms. We started with the introduction to novel drug delivery system. After that, we discussed on the various nano carriers as in a drug delivery system. Then we have discussed on the control release drug delivery system, and after that we have discussed target drug delivery system, and then we have discussed the gastroretentive drug delivery systems. So, today we are going to discuss on the new topic, that is mucosal and nasopulmonary drug delivery systems. So, today I am going to focus on the mucosal drug delivery systems, and in upcoming classes we will focus on the nasopulmonary drug delivery systems. So, in our first class we will focus on the introduction to mucosal drug delivery systems. So, this is today I am going to discuss on the various topics of the mucosal drug delivery systems. So, first we will see what is the concept behind the mucoadhesion, then we will see what are the mucoadhesive drug delivery systems, then we will see the ideal characteristics for an mucoadhesive systems, then we will see advantages, limitations, and what is the function and the role of the mucin in mucoadhesive drug delivery system, and we will end up with one case study. So, in the concept of mucoadhesion, as we know that the term itself comes from the bioadhesion. So, here you can see the meaning of bioadhesion. So, bio and adhesion, nothing but attachment of a moiety to biological surface, or you can say tissue, or you can say the cell. The adhesion is very important to the biological substance. So, that is called as bioadhesion. Now, it further classified into the cytoadhesion and then mucoadhesion. If your substrate will or your material will adhere to the biological, or you can say specifically to the cell, it is called as cytoadhesion. But if your dosage form or your material will adhere to the mucus layer, which is called as mucoadhesion. So, the concept of mucoadhesion is nothing but formation of an attachment between biological material and the artificial substrate. Either it may be any type of polymeric materials or dosage forms, whether it may be liquid or solid or semi-solid in nature. So, it will form the attachment with the biological membrane that you can clearly see in the pictorial representation. So, this is the mucus layer and these are the epithelial cells. On the greenery part is mucus. So, here is the polymeric material, or you can say the mucoadhesive polymeric material, which is formed by using of the polymers. Now, once it is in contact with the mucin, so you can see there is a interaction, or you can say the attachment of this mucin with the carrier. So, further it will interlink with the mucin. So, that will help for the cell uptake and for the retention. So, here these are the various types of the mucosal drug delivery systems, which will interact with the mucus layer and that will covered on the surface of the epithelial surfaces. And the main purpose of developing the mucoadhesive drug delivery systems, this topic already we have discussed in the gastro-retentive drug delivery systems, to increase the residence time of the dosage form at the site of the absorption, either by using buccal or sublingual or lingual routes, or by using the ocular route, vaginal, nasal, gastro-retentive and the rectal. So, these are the various routes, only single dosage form can be administered by the various routes. So, we can make various types of the dosage forms and the same formulation can be utilized for the different routes. The main goal is to improve the residence time, ultimately that will help the improvement in the bioavailability and then that will improve the efficacy and definitely that will improve the patient compliance. Now, here you can see mucoadhesive interaction here. We can use various drug delivery systems that can be applied as a mucoadhesive systems and with that we can enhance the residence time, we can improve the targeting, we can improve the permeation, we can reduce the unwanted side effects from the conventional formulations. Ideal characteristics of mucoadhesive drug delivery system: if your mucoadhesive dosage form should be quick and strong adhesion to the mucosal surface. So, that is a very important, that comes from the material. If your material is enough for the adhesion, then it will easily contact with the mucin and it will adhere for the longer time. And the second ideal property, your mucoadhesive system does not interfere with the drug release mechanism. The main purpose that need to be adhere to the your biological membrane, but that mucoadhesive polymer or mucoadhesive system will not affect the release of your active molecule. If that affects, then it lost its main goal of the treatment. So, that is why that should not interfere with the drug release mechanism. The main goal to adhere or to improve the retention time in the body. And yes, your mucoadhesive system that should be biodegradable and non-toxic in nature. That means again all type of biopolymers that should be degradable, non-toxic, that should not provide any toxic metabolites in the body after the performance. And the fourth point is that should show long lasting at the site, which will help in the better drug availability. So, after contact with the mucin, that should be retained for longer time, that will help in the drug availability, especially in case of gastro-retentive system. Your system need to be retained for longer time. Target delivery also possible by using various pH sensitive, temperature sensitive of the bioadhesive polymers. With that also we can target into particular sites of the body. And yes, by using this, because if you are increasing the retention time at the site, definitely that will also help in the absorption also. So, what are the advantages, or you can say the merits of the mucoadhesive drug delivery system? Definitely it will show the better absorption based on the high retention time, and that leads to the higher bioavailability. That is one of the major advantage. Second advantage is you can terminate your treatment whenever if you do not need further treatment. For example, you are traveling, if you are suffering with some motion sickness. So, the vomiting sensation while traveling. Such cases, once your traveling is done, so if you have some patches on the some mucosal surface, so after your journey, after your the travel, then you can remove the your patches from the surface. And yes, if you have some other like vomiting sensations in other cases also, such cases we can terminate your therapy. So, whereas in case of IV and the oral, which is not possible. So, here the great advantage that you can terminate your treatment once your requirement is fulfilled. And yes, you can avoid all type of the first pass metabolism. Those oral drugs will undergo the bioavailability issue. Such molecules can be translated and we can give as a oral mucosal or a like a buccal or some other routes or gastroretentive systems. With that we can improve the bioavailability. Definitely we can avoid we can bypass the first pass. And yes, these are the suitable for the drugs with low oral bioavailability and short half life. The best example is nitroglycerins, which comes in various oral mucosal formulation. It will show very effective in the absorption by using of the mucoadhesive drug delivery system. Such drugs can be translated, and target already we have discussed by using pH sensitive or temperature sensitive, or we can also target to the particular sites of the body. And yes, this is a non-invasive compared with the IV, and there is no pain involved in this process, and you do not need any practitioner, like whereas injection you need a practitioner to inject the your drugs. But here it is a non-invasive and painless administration, and definitely it will after coating with the mucoadhesive drug delivery systems, we can also protect the molecules from the various types of the degradation pathways. So, yeah, there are the limitations as well with these systems, because of the once you go with the converting of your conventional formulations into the mucoadhesive system, because we are focusing on the for the high residence time, that leads to the irritation, injury because of the polymers and other added ingredients in the mucoadhesive system. So, that is one of the major limitation that happens at the site of administration. So, this is one of the major problem in the mucosal clearance. This we will going to discuss in our upcoming slides. So, here the inherent mechanism, that is mucosal clearance, the mucin will clear at the time after the administration, that leads to the loss of the active molecule at the site. So, that is also one of the limitation. This we will discuss in our upcoming slides. And some patient feel discomfort, unpleasant taste, because here we use various types of the polymers and the process which are involved, that leads to the patient incompliance. And yes, if you are targeting for mucoadhesive, especially in oral and other routes, you cannot do like eating and drinking, that is need to be restricted, because if you are using a buccal, patches that will remove the patches from the mucosal site. So, we need to avoid the food and the saliva that may reduce the drug absorption. And yes, you cannot give the large dose. For example, in case of mucoadhesive films, you can give maximum the 20 to 30 mg of the drug into the one mucoadhesive film. So, such cases this also not suitable, right, and which is expensive compared to other systems, because same example for the films, and when you compared with the tablets, the conventional tablets are affordable and the cost is very less, whereas films the preparation cost is maybe less, but the packaging and the protection of that film, the cost will go very high. So, again the cost of polymer will also included in the cost. So, too much moisture that is happens and the weaken the dosage form. So, as I mentioned here, in case of films, we use various types of plasticizers and some of the aqueous phases, some non-aqueous phases. So, that leads to the moisture uptake that also undergo the degradation. Ulcer causing drugs may worsen side effects, because when you use mucoadhesive, if you are using the ulcer causing drugs, it will stay at that particular site, that leads to the ulcer formation at the site of mucosal administration. Now, here we are going to discuss on the functions of mucus. So, what is the properties, or you can say the characteristics of the mucus in the body. So, mucus is a slippery, it is a gel like fluid that covers the mucosal surface of the body. So, it will, the role of the mucus in the body is, it works as a barrier. You can see the thickness of the mucus in the stomach, and you can see the thickness that is less than 1 micrometer in the mouth. It works as a barrier, and also it helps for the protection, that will remove the all type of the debris and the dust particle, also germs from the various mucosal system. It will also help in the lubrication, and it will also maintain the pH in the body. And here you can see this is a lipid layer, this is aqueous layer, and this is a mucosal layer, these are the epithelial cells. So, it will present in the body. And here is the composition of the mucus in the body. So, the 95% is the water which present in the mucus, and also it contain the 0.5 to 5% of other ingredients that may be included in the glycoproteins, lipids, mineral salts, and the free proteins. And here are the various types of the proteins, that is the galactose, L-fucose, N-acetyl D-glucosamine, and here you can see the salicylic acid. So, this salicylic acid will give the negative charge to the mucus, or you can say the mucin, that will help in the interaction. Now, here the one more major role of the mucus, or you can say the mucociliary clearance time. This is a very, very important factor that will decide the efficiency of your mucoadhesive drug delivery system. So, what is the mucociliary clearance time means the time required to remove the mucus from the airways. This process is called as mucociliary clearance. Now, here you can see this is the epithelium, and here you can see the sol layer, and another one is the gel layer in the mucus. Now, here there are the cilia which involve in the removal of the mucus from the mucosal surfaces. So, this cilia will move continuously. So, the main role of the mucociliary clearance is to maintain the defense system against the infection and the irritation which may comes with the foreign particles. So, this cilia will move on the mucous surface on the epithelium cell. So, this will remove the particles from the site of administration. This is inherent mechanism, and it is which will help for the defense. But when you use mucoadhesive drug delivery as any polymer or carrier systems, when it come in contact with these, and these ciliary systems will remove our formulations. So, that is the major challenge in the mucoadhesive drug delivery systems. This is a good system for body, but as a therapeutic application, this is one of the major limitation. Such cases, we need to come up with the various strategies to overcome mucociliary clearance time. The best example is in situ gel mucoadhesive systems. So, after addition, this will form a gel, and that will adhere very strongly with your mucus compared with the conventional mucoadhesive liquid systems. So, in situ mucoadhesive gel systems are very useful method in the mucoadhesive drug delivery systems to overcome mucociliary clearance time. So, now you can see and you can compare the clearance times at various locations. You can see general respiratory. So, the mucociliary clearance time is 10 to 20 minutes, whereas maxillary sinus, so it is 20 to 30 minutes, nasal is 8.8 minutes, ocular 5.7 minutes, GIT is 4 to 6 hours, and vaginal it will go to the hours. Now, this is one of the challenging in the mucoadhesive systems. So, here the scientist or formulations people will come up with the various strategies to overcome these issues. Here we will see one case study. So, this study is performed by the Michael J and his co-workers. They developed the mucoadhesive film of Montelukast, which is an approved active ingredient for the treatment of asthma and allergic conditions. So, at present we have the commercial and marketed products which are available for the treatment of asthma and the allergic conditions, but which is displaying inconsistent uptake and bioavailability because of the non-response in the patients. So, this is the reported data, and these people and they have developed a mucoadhesive Montelukast films, and they studied their safety, bioavailability in the animals as well as in the humans as a phase 1 studies, and they come up with positive results. And not only that, these will help for the patient compliance and which will improve the bioavailability. Now, here you can see this is the mucoadhesive film which contains the Montelukast, and this can be used for the various for the treatment of other diseases also. So, here after the formulation and the characterization, they have performed the safety and pharmacokinetic studies of these drug loaded films in the mice by using the oral route, and they were able to identify the drug in the serum and the cerebrospinal fluid in various dose dependent manner. Now, here you can see the level of Montelukast in the cerebrospinal fluid. You can see the first one is the vehicle, that means a film without any active ingredient, that is why here we see there is no amount of the drug, whereas low dose, that is 3.3 mg per kg per day. So, the dose, that is a 3.3, you can see the minimum uptake of the drug in the cerebrospinal fluid. When they increase the dose, and interestingly the uptake is increased, the CFC levels of the drug is increased with the 10 mg per kg per day. So, this speaks that the dose dependent studies are also very important in the animal as well as human studies. So, after that they use same technology of the Montelukast mucoadhesive films and they performed the safety bioavailability in the human beings as in a clinical phase 1 study. So, here phase 1 study we perform in the human beings, which are those are we perform in the human beings, those are the not patients, these are the healthy voluntaries. Here we try to see the safety of the formulation, safety of the new chemical entity. So, interestingly they able to see the quantity or the amount of the montelukast in the cerebrospinal fluid. So, now they compared the data with the conventional and marketed product. Now, here you can see this is the y axis which represents the plasma concentration and this is the hours. Now, see the presence of the drug with the film, the same dose, equivalent dose 10 mg, 10 mg. Now, see the amount of the drug in the plasma concentration, which is very high compared with the conventional tablets. So, with this what we understand, mucoadhesive delivery system is a one of the promising alternative for the all type of conventional formulations. Yes, especially oral mucosal delivery systems, either buccal or films or any type of the oral mucosal formulations will enhance the bioavailability as well as which will reduce the all type of the limitations which come up with the conventional oral drug delivery systems. Ultimately, which will improve the bioavailability as well as it will improve the therapeutic efficacy of the patients. If you would like to know more on this paper, you can refer this publication. So far, we have discussed the concept of mucoadhesion and also we have discussed the various types of the mucoadhesive dosage forms and also we have seen the role of mucin and also we have seen the mucociliary clearance. Then we have seen the advantages and limitations of the mucoadhesive formulations. Then we have seen the ideal properties of the mucoadhesive system and lastly we have seen the one case study which will help us to make a novel mucoadhesive drug delivery systems. In our upcoming classes, we are going to discuss on the interesting concepts of the mucoadhesive drug delivery systems. With this, I am going to stop today's lecture. Thank you so much.